Going live on Facebook now.
Yay. Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. Now, you know, here at Yikes Radio, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do here on the show is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying in unison, guys, yikes! YikesRadio.com. If you can hear that, guys, and I know you did, those are the very sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And you know Mr. Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at Yikes Radio and AccelerateRadio.net. So I always give love and respect to Mr. Nash, because if it wasn't for him and his dream and what he does, it would not be possible for me to do what I so love to do. So thank you to my mentor, Mr. Kevin Nash. I'd like to give a very special shout out to my amazing sister, Miss Lori Ray Fisher, also known as Lori G. Thank you, Lori G. She is a benefactor, ladies and gentlemen. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I am well. How are you?
Lori G, everybody in the house tonight. And then what I also love to do is I got to give a very special shout out for Thursday nights to none other than the Tweed Cadillac. And that's at 93.tweed FM, Lowrider Spectacular Oldies at their finest. So you want to check him out on Thursday nights. And then you've also got a series called The Fabulous G. Lou Show. So ladies and gentlemen, you want to check him out as well. And you also want to give a very, very special shout out to G Babies Catering, everybody. G Babies, yay! So you want to check out Chef Matt, everybody, and that you can find him on Instagram at GBABBIES.catering. So you definitely want to check him out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that's Chef Mac with G Babies Catering. And then you also want to give a very special shout out to none other than Mr. Charlie 305, ladies and gentlemen, platinum recording artist that we have in the house tonight, sponsoring the Poetry of Justice show. I appreciate you and thank you so much, Mr. Charlie. And then I give a very special shout out to thank you to APS Muscle Cars, everybody. You know, we like to give a very special shout out to him because that's also the man of steel. But what he's got going on now is a really, really cool facility over in Signal Hill. So what you guys want to do is reach out to Memo, and that's MEMO with APSmusclecars.com. There's some really cool stuff, some high-end vehicle restoration that he's got going on over there, as well as he's got some stock. So he's got some things on the showroom floor that you might be interested in if you want to decide if you want to custom build a hot rod, or maybe you want to cruise with a low ride or something. Again, check him out. But go to the website again, www.apsmusclecars.com. So that's a mouthful. If I forgot anyone, please forgive me. But I thank everyone to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are very honored, I am, and very blessed. And I thank everyone. Again, we have the ladies of the chat tonight. But we are blessed to have some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kings in the house tonight. And I'm going to start off with giving a very special welcome in love and honor and respect to Mr. Charlie 305. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. Good, very good.
So how was your week?
My
Your
week,
Saturday?
I can't complain, man. We still here, man. You know, with all this craziness going on, you know. So I'm just blessed, you know. I'm just blessed, you know.
That's a good thing. Thank you so much. And what about you, the very handsome and dapper Mr. Tapper? How are you doing tonight, Big Tap?
Oh, I'm doing dandy fine. Hello, ladies.
You got a lot of love, and I know how you like to do things, Mr. Tapper. I've had some funky good times with you, sir. So you in your habitat tonight, huh? With some +5s and shit. What you got going on?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I can feel it. It's gonna be a good night. You looking?
This is amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Everybody,
Okay, Lori G, how you doing tonight, Lori? What's going on, ladies in the chat? Lori G, how you guys doing tonight?
I think the ladies, we are excited. We got some gossip going on. My girl, Shelly, she got some updates to put on the table. Tanya Michelle has some very deep questions for you brothers tonight. So I need you to bring your A game because Tanya Michelle's going to be all over it.
I know. I can't wait. Shelly C, what you got for us?
Oh, I've got some really good stuff, some celebrity gossip. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation we're going to have tonight about entanglement. I can say I can speak from experience.
Uh-oh.
You gonna speak from experience, girl?
Experience. I can speak from experience with those entanglements, okay?
Not entanglement, guys. Shelly's gonna be talking from her own. Oh my God, I don't even know if I'm ready for this. I don't even know. I'm so scared right now. The spook who sat by the door, Shelly C. That's me. Lori G, what you thinking tonight? How you ready?
Well, I'm ready. I just want to give out our call-in number. If you want to call in, ask questions, give us a call at 310-910-9676, extension 1. Also, you can join us in our Zoom room. Just, you should be able to pick that up from our Facebook live feed. You'll be able to pick up our Zoom room address. So let's just kick things off with Shelly C. Shelly C, what's our first celebrity up for discussion?
Miss Tamar Braxton. I think everybody has heard about Miss Tamar Braxton. It said that she had attempted suicide with drugs and a little bit of alcohol with her current boyfriend, who found her unresponsive in the hotel. And apparently, Tamar has had some scars from her past. I think we all do. It just depends on how we choose to handle it. And sometimes it's a little bit, maybe with COVID-19 and all of the things that she has gone through her life, I think that may have taken a toll on her. And it looks like she almost took her life this weekend. She had an encrypted message to her family, and she never sent it, but it was encrypted. And if you notice that she uses the word slave as her middle name, and she feels like she is a slave to.
I didn't know she used slave as her middle name.
Well, she actually, I shouldn't say that, but on social media, she puts slave in parentheses in between her first and her last name. So I can read to you what she said. Give me a second here. She says, I am a slave. I do not own my life, my stories, my pictures, my thoughts, or my beliefs. I've asked my massa to free me. I'm threatened and punished for it. The only way I see out is death. I will choose that before I continue to live like this. Please help me. So I took that. I don't know. What do you take that to mean, Lori G? Ladies of the chat or anybody on the panel, what do you take that to mean? I'd like to know what you guys think.
Wow. That's...
I know. I'm blown away, dog. Can you reread that for me, the last sentence?
Okay,
you look like a slave.
It's only about it's a very small paragraph. I'll read it every time. She says,
I'm gonna take notes. Okay.
I am a slave. My life, my stories, my pictures, my thoughts, and my beliefs. Maybe she doesn't own anything. I've asked my master to free. I'm threatened and punished for it. The only way that I see out is death. I will choose that I continue to love like this.
Wow. Hey guys, if you're not talking, can you mute? There's some feedback someplace. I don't know where that is though. Zoom acts crazy.
Yeah. So did you guys want me to read that one more time, or did you guys?
Yeah, I think we got rid of some of the feedback. So if we just mute ourselves until we're ready to talk. Go ahead, Shelly C.
Okay. Would you like me to read it one more time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Tamar wrote, before she attempted suicide, she said, I am a slave. I do not own my life, my stories, my pictures, my thoughts, my beliefs. I've asked the master to free me. I'm threatened and punished for it. The only way I see out is death. I will choose that before I continue to love like this. Please help me. That was an encrypted message that she had to her family that did not go out. But that is, you know, that was before she attempted the apparent suicide. So I take that to mean a lot of things. And I was just wondering what the panelists, and maybe you, Lori G, or maybe Tanya, or anyone out there, what do you guys take that to mean? I took a lot from it, but I'd like to hear from the panelists. What did you take that to mean?
You know, Mr. Charlie, what do you think? You're our entertainer here on the panel. What did that speak to you and say as an artist?
I think it's probably a mixture. It's hard to say, but it's a mixture of just disappointments in life, failed relationships, family issues, just not achieving the goals you wanted to achieve in life. And those are a lot of the things people who attempt suicide and commit suicide have facing them. There's just failure, the failure in life. I had a mother of my child, her mother committed suicide a couple of years ago, shot herself in the head, and those were some of the things that she used to complain about, just the failures. And most of them, you know, that drive people to drinking, drugs, and, you know, overdosing. And so it'd be a lot of things that, you know, family play a part, but mostly probably relationships. Yeah,
she did say, I do not own my life, my stories, my pictures, or my thoughts or beliefs. So I take that to mean, her life as it appears on, I guess, their show that they have, and her life as it appears on social media. I do know that she was on a special with Iyanla Vanzant and her sisters, and she walked off because she was very upset that it was mentioned that she was molested in her youth. And she felt like that was brought up unfairly because, and I can understand it, because she felt like she was the one to tell that story. I don't need you to tell my story. I want to tell my story. So no one can tell my story better than me because I was there. I was the one that was molested by both sides of my family. She said multiple members on both sides, her mother and her father's side. So when she says she's a slave, I think for so long she's hidden that pain. And then for someone else to bring it out in front of thousands of people, the way she mentioned it was like, I don't need you to bring it out for me. I want to tell my story. Before you brought this out, only 2 people in my life knew about this. And now you're bringing it out. Don't tell my story. I can tell my own. So she got up and walked off the set.
Hey, Shelly, when you think about what she said, who do you think she's saying she's a slave to, or a slave to what?
Well, she says that she's a slave to, she doesn't own her life. So to me, when you're in the limelight and you don't own your life, basically your life is always on social media. Everything that happens, it's out there. So she says she doesn't own her life. She doesn't own her stories, meaning you told my story. I want to tell my own story. She says my pictures. So I guess people, they use her pictures, whatever pictures she takes, because a lot of times paparazzis do use your pictures and without your consent. And then she says my thoughts and my beliefs. So it doesn't matter what I believe or what I thought. You guys already have come to the assumption of whatever it is about me. You've already told my story, and it's unfair for you to tell my story when you weren't there. That's how I took it. And then she says she's a slave to the master. She's asked the master to free her. I think that's the media. I think she feels like she's a slave to it. She says she says she's threatened and punished by it. Basically, I think her family is probably upset at the fact that she's bringing it out because none of her sisters have. I'm not saying that any of her sisters were molested, but I feel like if you say that you feel like you're threatened and punished, meaning you don't bring this out because that could shame our family. That's what I get from that. And then she says the only way that she sees out, maybe the only way that she can get freedom from all of this is, and this is the part that kind of got me, where she says, I choose that before I continue to love like this. So I don't know if that's a personal love or if there is a love, you know, if I love my sisters, I love my family, but if they're choosing to keep threatening me and telling me to keep this quiet, that's not love. How can you love me and telling me to be quiet because you're afraid that I'm going to shame our family? That's what I take it to mean, but I could be off. The last thing she said was, please help me. Now, a lot of times when you say, please help me, you want somebody to help you before you do the wrong thing. So I think she was reaching out as the last effort before she did attempt the suicide or took the pills and the alcohol. That's what I took it to mean. I could be wrong, but just in the
You know what?
That's what I got.
Shelly, see, we have a caller, so I'm interested to see what our caller thinks.
Wonderful.
Rashid, can you give us our caller, please?
Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How you guys doing?
We're doing
All right.
great. Who are we speaking to?
This is the #1 Yikes Queen of Poetry, Jackie, Lori G, fan, fanatic, maniac.
Right.
Roddy Rod, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Rod.
I'm doing better now because I can't eat and I can't sleep. I'm just that deep if I can't hear y'all come out with them two pretty sheep. That's talking about Jackie and that Lori G.
Wow. Well, thank you, Rod. We are so
I see
honored.
y'all got a heavy topic going on. I don't know if y'all talking about the woman that drowned in the boat or which one y'all talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Tamar Braxton. She's one of the Braxtons. She's a sister to, the most famous sister is Toni Braxton. So she's the baby sister.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's the
gotcha.
baby sister.
Real quick, what y'all getting at with that? What's the issue rather?
She tried to commit suicide and she pretty much feels like she's a slave, and she just mentioned her pictures and her thoughts. She just feels like she doesn't own any of them. You know, her pictures, her thoughts, anything. So she feels like her life does not belong to her, and she feels threatened. And she saw no other way out, is what she pretty much said.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this and let y'all have it with the professors. But to me, basically, if this is not a publicity stunt, what a better way to come back and have your books and all your stuff bring you to the top. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, that could be, you know, Lori and I have bounced things off of each other, and one of the things that you might have a very good, interesting point of view, because there's some things that I've also done on suicide. Most of the time, you know, women, when they want help, they're going to reach out for help before they do it, hoping somebody will find them or save them. I've heard that.
Well,
I'm not saying that's Tamar, but I'm just saying that has been the history of what people have said. They say that women want to die pretty, men will blow their head off. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this to help you guys out a little bit and get off the air. What the main thing to do now? She needs support and prayer from her family and friends, you know, from God, so she can bounce over this. After that, it doesn't matter about the fame and stardom and stuff. Everything will follow suit with her. Like Tina Turner came back, and a lot of other people go through this. And once they go through some turmoil, they bounce back. James Brown, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? But on that note, I love you guys. I want to just concentrate and hear you guys. I can turn the radio if I can't really hear you guys. But you guys, Yikes is the best.
Thank you, Rod. We love you so much.
Thanks, Rod.
Love y'all more. Kudos, you're beautiful, and Jackie is just so professional at what she does. And I love this show. I love it. I'm telling you, I get goosebumps. I'll talk to y'all in a minute.
All right, Rod. Thank you.
Hey, ladies of the chat and our guests, I think we should probably hang around that just for a second that Lori and Shelly was talking about. you know, what if it was a publicity stunt? Because at what point did she feel like she's become a slave, right, to the public or entertainment or the pressure of her family? Because they had the Braxton show. She's been on several shows. She's been a public eye. She's made herself publicly known for a lot of things. That just doesn't kind of go with this whole breakdown. It's like, what else could have triggered this? Because it can't be of the public. Now, Shelly, I don't know when this show was and about the molestation, and if she didn't get a chance to tell her whole story, I could see that embarrassment of not being able to tell her whole story. But if that's not proximal to the suicide, then what else was the trigger? And it makes you kind of wonder.
Yeah, it does. And it makes it made me wonder about stability, because I'm going to tell you guys, I've been through some things and I can't be judgmental about anybody else. I've been blessed that some of the things that I've been through, that I've been able to get through it. But one of the things that would prevent me would be my children. Just the thought of my children knowing that and me leaving them. And we all know at a young age, children blame themselves. And one of the things, she has a very young son. So one of the things that would have been on my mind, or would have kept me from even attempting to do it, is, what about my children? Are they going to blame themselves? Are they going to be upset? Why did mom leave me? So it had to be pretty deep to have a son so small and to be able to go through it. There's something mentally was disturbing her, and she was tired. That's the only thing I could come up with.
What do you think, Big Cap?
Is she getting any attention? How is the show doing? Is her career doing good, or what's going on?
Well, actually, her career is doing very well, because she has a new show where her and her beautician they're doing a show on bad beauticians, actually, and they're having different people come on the show that's had different experiences, bad experiences with hairdressers, and her hairdresser is actually trying to coach people into doing better. So it seems like her career is well. Again, we're looking on the outside, and maybe that's what she meant by she's being a slave to. She looks like she's doing very well. She looks great. So I'm not really sure if it had anything to do with her career, because she's doing presumably well.
But I wonder, when she talks about being a slave, often, I know when Prince, remember he went through that phase where he said he was a slave to his record company, and it was all about money. Do you think maybe she's not being compensated, or she doesn't feel she's getting her value or worth?
You might be right, because what Prince said, he didn't own the rights to certain music. And what she's saying is, I'm a slave. I don't own my life, my stories, my pictures, or my thoughts. So maybe she is kind of touching in what Prince touched on, because you remember Prince had that same term, and he said he didn't mean it in the terms of, slaves that were bought and sold and that type of thing, but he meant slaves to the record label that he was under.
Right.
Yeah, but she's public eye her whole life, right? And so I'm really convinced that something else triggered it, right? Because physical appearance can mask so much stuff. Just because someone looks good doesn't mean that they are well, right? And so if she wants to use the word slave, she's been a slave to public image. As soon as she became an entertainment, that's what happens to all entertainers.
Right.
They in the eye of the public, people judge them. I mean, just as soon as you become a face that can be shared around the world, people have comments. And so I'm still thinking something triggered this, or either it's a plot to come back on top.
I think the latter, Tanya. You know how Trump, good publicity is publicity, good or bad. If they're talking about you, that's publicity. So she wants people talking about it. You know what I mean? And that's what she's talking about will make people talk about it. So Tanya might have something there. Mm-hmm. Are people really responding to it, or is it a real serious issue, or is it just another headline? It's not a headliner, but it's just another piece of news.
Yeah, but even if it is for a publicity stunt, I don't feel you need to be messing around with no pills. Come on now. If you want a publicity stunt, maybe you can do what Jussie Smollett did. Oh, they chased me and they tried to hang me. They put a noose on me. But take the pills to get and not know if you're going to wake up or not, that's scary. That's a little scary.
Yo, did she actually take pills and somebody found her? And then I heard she turned herself in. I heard she turned her own self in. But they found her like.
And they found her unresponsive. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a true attempt. That's a true attempt for suicide.
Right. So if you not sure somebody gonna bring you back, I don't know if that's the type of publicity I would want, because I need somebody to be standing very near to get me right back on the other side. Okay. So
I think the pressures of the industry are real, though. Would you agree, Mr. Charlie? What are some of the pressures you've experienced through your career?
Yeah, that's why I started off that it's hard to say, because a lot of the stuff she was just saying, some of those issues, being in the industry, you have your ups and downs. Like you're saying, you can still be looking good, but you can be broke.
Right.
You can still be looking good, but your relationship can be going sour. So it's a lot of things. You could be rich. How many rich people killed themselves, committed suicide. So it's hard to say, and it's hard to say if it's a publicity stunt. And, I could play unresponsive if somebody tapping on me, so you don't know how far people will go for publicity, sell a book, a record, it's just hard to say, and she got it to where we'll all be, just guessing,
right.
So you can't really put one finger on the subject and say it's this or it's that. But I can honestly say, being an artist, you do have those times where you up and you come down, and it's hard to deal with society. Like I think you look what Dave Chappelle went through. Look what the one that was on Martin's show, who started working at a car lot, who was Cole. So some people coming in seeing you working at a car lot after being on the Martin show, that can be painful. It's a lot of stuff can drive people committing, suicide. And he's saying he's making good money, but still the fact that the media, criticize you for stuff like that, it can be overwhelming. And all of it different how we deal with pain and disappointments, so.
She could have just been tired. You're right. That makes a lot of sense. She could have been just tired, Mr. Charlie. You made a very, very good point. I don't know, panelists. I don't know. It's kind of, it's really scary. I mean, she's had a number of, she had a great song that she made pretty much good money off. She's on 2 different shows, so I don't know. You might be right. And maybe her contract isn't very good. Maybe she's not making anything. Maybe she is making just pennies. But what do you guys think about the controversy of suicide itself?
We have commentary from our Facebook people.
Okay.
And so from Terry Lampkin, she tends to think that it could be mental illness, depression, such as depression, as well as Monique May says, I think too that it may be mental illness when you look at her overall behaviors when she's on the Braxton show. Yeah. So we also have that one there, and Charles Conyers also from our Facebook feed says the same, that we may want to just consider there's some mental illness involved, but obviously we know something had to trigger it.
Correct.
So, like she said, her pictures, her story, her thoughts, her beliefs. Now, I think there's obviously some distortion because people can't own your beliefs. You see what I'm saying? That's something that only one can know, because no one can know your thoughts. Satan can give you thoughts, but he doesn't know your thoughts. She can have to, work with that belief controlling scenario. But it sounds like something had to trigger her, and something industry based. I'm not saying it is some sort of a stunt, but to feel like she's a slave and feel like she's being punished and she owns nothing, and death is the only way out. Anytime Satan is in you, you're all up in the spirit if he wants you to think that you need to take yourself out. So prayers, serious big prayers.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Now, I don't know much about Tamar, but was she recently divorced? Wasn't she
Yes, and that was something I wanted to bring up. She recently tweeted that she was very excited to now have a mother-in-law because the man that she was previously married to, whom she had her son by, his mother had passed very soon. So she was actually recently tweeting before all of this that she was very excited to have a mother-in-law because she hadn't had one. She's never had one before, and she really loves her boyfriend's mother. And she was really excited about the relationship and the relationship that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what are the family doing? I think the family released a statement about. I know they said to pray for them. Has there been any news about how they're going to help support her through this difficult period?
No news. They've just asked for everyone to pray. No one has really had any comments. They just want everybody to pray for her and pray for their family because just like any other family, they have some things, that they go through. That just because they're celebrities, it doesn't mean that they don't have any issues, within the family. And I think Tamar is the one that's trying to break out from, why are we keeping all these issues a secret, And if we are, I don't want anybody else telling my story, basically. So they're not commenting, but she's the more outspoken one, it seems to be, as far as the media is concerned, and always has been. She's the one that came up with the .com. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
No.
Oh yeah, you know how somebody says, "Oh, I'm tired of this .com or .net." That saying, it came from her. It actually came from her. Or I'm looking good .com. That all came from her. So she was always the more outspoken one and the more colorful one of the girls, the family. So.
And she's the youngest one, right?
Yeah, she's the baby.
Mm-hmm. We can't hear you, JJ. You're muted.
I kind of felt that she always felt that she was in Tony's shadow, and when throughout watching the show, I kind of can understand that from having a huge big sister with regard to
there.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to be like, okay, I'm here too. I did that. I do still, but it's the truth, and I just like to say it.
She has come out and said that she feels her voice has a higher range, she did have a very good hit that everybody really loved, and she does have a higher pitched voice than Tony, but she has said that that she does feel that she has a very good voice, and just as good as her big sister. But her big sister was always the one that got the limelight, or her sister was picked. They were a group. They were all a group at one time. And then they picked Tony to do the solo career, as far as the label that was signed for. So it could be that she was tired of she did say she was tired of being in the shadows. So
she did.
Yeah, she did.
Well, I think we have to lift up Miss Tony and pray for her and
Tamar.
Well, Tamar, and pray for her.
Because Terry Lampkin, guys, hold on real quick. Terry Lampkin says that Tamar is on the show now to catch a beautician. Have you seen that one? That's what you talking about, Shelly?
Yeah, that was the one.
Wow.
I don't know, Shelly. It is so sad. I just
it
pray
is.
that the ladies and the family.
I think it's sad anytime somebody tries to take their life, whether it's for whatever reason, but it seems like she has some personal and family dynamics going on. I mean, we're just sitting here talking hypothetical.
Right.
We don't know any of it. I mean, we're making assumptions and we're not even in her head.
I agree.
So, we can all make assumptions and we'll never know the truth, right? But it's just really sad that if she really tried to take her life to get to that point in a family that has resources, right? Or should have resources, that no one was able to see that she needed help. And that's why, we have these annual suicide, walks and all this type of stuff, because those people, when you're close to them, you should be able to see something, whether it's depression or co-personalities or bipolar disorder or whatever it is, but it's just really, really sad. And speaking of that, taking somebody's life, Shelly, do you have any scoop on the Glee star? On the Glee star,
you know what? She was just very well liked across social media. There was nothing that was of gossip or anything. Basically, they said that she tried to save her son. That is the reason why he was left on the boat and asleep. Is, you know, he said, we went swimming, me and mommy went swimming, and when I looked back, mommy pushed me in the boat, but when I looked back, mommy went under to go swimming some more. So I think there was maybe a current, because that's what the sheriff said. In that lake, there are currents at the bottom, and she may have got caught by a current, and they were out there together. She didn't have a jacket on, but her son had a life jacket on. And they said that they think her last ditch effort was to save her son. So she put her son on the boat and then she went down. That's what they got from that. And speaking recently, even in personal, I know someone personally who lost a son at 19 years old, who was at a lake, Big Bear Lake, with all of his friends. And he jumped in the pool, and he's a good swimmer, but he went under, and they all tried to save him. And it's just weird how people are drowning in just lakes and currents and things of that nature. So they think that it was a current at the bottom of the lake, and she kept trying to get up to the top. And then when her son was in the water, she put her son in the boat. And then he said when he looked back after he and mommy were swimming, she went down. There's no gossip or anything about her, except that she did divorce her son's father, but they seem to be in a really good relationship. So that was really sad too.
That was terribly sad.
Her father
unfathomable.
Jumped in the lake looking for her. I know it took them 5 days to find her, but there's media pictures of her father, and her mother's just standing with her arms out, screaming for her, and knowing that she's in the lake, and her father jumps in, just swimming, trying to find her. But they were saying it's really dark at the bottom of the lake, and that's where she was. So that's why it took them so long to find her. It was really sad, really sad.
Yeah, I think a safety message for this is that, because I've been in a lake before, and it looks calm on the top, but underneath it's very dangerous. And I've actually got caught up in a current on the Colorado River, and I had a life jacket on, thankfully. So I think the safety messages in this, and whenever you're in any body of water that's not controlled, like a pool, safety first. Even though if you're the best swimmer, it's probably always try to protect ourselves in life jacket, because when I was looking at it, and I always kind of look at things probably initially as a human through a negative eye. And I was like, well, why wouldn't she have a life jacket on? Why wouldn't, but I don't know if she thought she was a swimmer. I don't know if this was their routine, practices, what they did. And, but, I think that you always want to try to be safe.
Well, Tiger, I have a question. I'm not a good enough swimmer, but I have a question because I don't know this. She didn't have a life jacket on, and maybe she wanted to swim. Can you swim with a life jacket on? I don't know. Can you? You can? So yeah. So she should have had one on then. Because
You had a question?
Yeah, she shouldn't have been in that boat with that boy by herself, period.
I agree, but
I don't know why she was on that boat.
I agree.
A boat, she should have someone, at least even of another woman, someone to assist her, period. Because it seems like we don't know, but like speculating, but she wasn't that good of a swimmer, to be on the boat by herself, at least, And then, like she said, like Shelly said, having a life jacket on or whatever. But yeah, that was negligence along with sad, but I think it had a little negligence.
Yeah, it's just a really sad story. Yeah. So let's try to pep ourselves up a little bit, right? Just a little bit. And I need to hear about what is going on with this new coin term, entanglement. What's up with entanglement?
Well, can we read the definition? Because I'm hearing two different definitions of entanglement. Jackie, does anybody have the definition?
I can look it up right now, guys. That's what we're going to do, Shelly. We're just on the scene here, guys. On Truth Justice Show. Shelly, see, I'm looking it up right now, sissy. Here we go. So I'm so excited. E-N-T-A. Spell it for me, Shelly. I'm just teasing.
E-N-T-A-N-L.
All right, gorgeous. Entanglements. You guys ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Shelly C, Lori G.
Hey, wait a minute. Before you say the definition, Jackie, I just want you ladies to know, I think you all agree that you're all my friends. I love you all, but entanglement is a woman thing. Get it right.
Okay? That was being gender specific. Entanglement is some female shit.
You know, I've been involved in some, and it ain't had nothing to do with me. Okay.
Let's get funky in here. Let's do it. Let's do it. Only way we can do it. Okay, entanglement, people. The action. It's a noun, Shelly C.
An action.
But it's also the action of entangling. The state of being entangled, right? Something that entangles, confuses, or ensnares. Oh my God. The snare of the fowler. You talk about, anyway. Something that ensnares. A project delayed by entanglement. The condition, here we go. Layman terms. This is the terms that I think apply to the story tonight, everybody. Definition number 2, entanglement from the Merriam Dictionary. This is on the cell phone. We can also Google it as well. We're gonna start with this one, Shelly C. This is the one right here. The condition of being deeply involved in a relationship.
Okay.
The condition of being deeply involved in a relationship. Entanglement.
Now,
we can
actually, from our Zoom room, we've got a couple definitions. We've got Gaina. Huh?
Let's do them.
Yeah, so Gaina in our Zoom room says, entanglement is a term Jada's publicist told her to use. It sounds cleaner than what was really going on. And then Kirsten Fisher says, it's really just a complicated relationship, LOL. Or a compromising situation.
Ooh, she get funky. How about that? No?
Well, I don't know.
But I want everybody to look at the man's face, okay?
Let's look at the pen.
Pamela's face.
Yikes.
Tap was confused.
You've been pretty quiet, Mr. Charlie. What do you think about this word entanglement?
Oh, you're
You
on
got
mute.
your mute on. You're muted.
I just know if that was a man trying to use that word, we wouldn't hear the laugh. You know, it's BS. BS. I think that she was cheating.
I like
and,
that.
You know, and that's just the bottom line. I also that they was broke up when that happened. I believe it happened in the midst of them walking. And because if you were separated, if my girl something like she's separated, I won't want to get her back. It won't be, you know, it just bothersome to me that they both had in it, and then all of a sudden, you know, they were saying that they was separated. I think it happened when they got together. That's why it was so deep for Will.
Right.
That's my.
That is so deep for Will.
What you guys do?
Why would I want to get back and we were separated?
Well,
It happened while we was together.
if you still have feelings for that other person and you haven't done anything, you want to get them back. You do. You do. And I have another question for everybody on the panel, and I want to know if you can answer this, married or unmarried. You take a vow to say till death do us part. This ain't no girlfriend boyfriend relationship. We're married. When is we broken up mean anything? There's no papers. We are still married. So entanglement to me means cheating.
No, hold up. Listen to me.
He said, hold up. I'm listening.
No, I'm gonna get real with you. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna bring you into my business. Right now, 11 months separated, right? No papers, but I'm separated. But you know, a angry, very bitter wife tells me she is denouncing our wedding. I'm denouncing us as being married. That to me, when you tell me that on the phone, but when you tell me that, that's saying, number one, you are not, you know, rip them papers up, almost. Instead of not, we didn't go to court, but she denounced our marriage. We haven't, you know, it's crazy, but when you're separated, when a woman speaks like that, that's one thing about a woman. A guy, he might, you know, it's different. But when a woman gets like that and really tells a man, because most women, look at the Bible, you have to respect and honor your man. You have to, if you don't have no respect for your husband, then you're not a good woman, period. Your husband got to rule. He got to be the leader of the house. That's it. You got to respect that. When you lose all respect like that, it ain't no, you know, it ain't no going back. And then when you say stuff afterwards like that, it's no going back. You know what I mean? Now, if you a forgiving dude, nowadays, I don't know what y'all thinking, but nowadays in this world with relationships, something is going on, y'all. A lot of things is going on with people. Women are leaving good men, black women. Something is going on, y'all. I'm telling you, I don't know what is in the air. I don't know what's happening. But black women, to me, they want this freedom. They want everything. They want to have equal jobs. They want to be equal to men. I don't know if that's good or not, guys. I'm starting to think. Before, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even care. But now it's like relationship. They want to be the man in the relationship. They want to be equal. They want a woman, the way mom and everybody used to do it, and our grandmothers, they respected their man, and the man usually, they respected him to a point he didn't even have to say nothing. Pop, you notice how Pop ain't never say nothing. He sat back and always just chilled because his wife respected him.
Tap.
But nowadays, ain't nobody respecting nobody. They
Tap.
just, women just running all over. I'm this, I'm that. Go ahead, Charlie.
You should see the women faces. I've been sliding back and forth. I'm looking at all the women faces. One caught a migraine. One was biting a lip. I mean, you're right though. It is a difference. It is the love has got a different meaning nowadays. So it really do. But
Charlie,
yeah,
I'm trying to put it in a way where I can say it where it don't offend them and they don't lose the respect they have. Because I think these four women here have respect for me. So therefore, I'm trying
Yikes like a mug. Like a mug. Yikes. The women is running amok, Tap.
What? They running amok, y'all. They running amok.
Okay.
I don't
Let
know
me
what's
see. Which one of my sisters can I release on Tap? Who want to go first?
But you know what? Listen to me.
Michelle?
I don't know.
Go ahead,
Lori,
T.
I don't know Lori, I don't know you guys. Listen, I know you guys are friends, so I don't have to, but I'm not looking at you. I'm talking about in general, and a lot of people that are grieving, a lot of people that have problems listening to other people's relationships. Guys, like Charlie said, there's changes going on now where sisters ain't the way they used to be. And y'all got to talk to me about this because we don't have relationships and we always talk and understood each other. You gotta bring me into light. You gotta enlighten me on what you guys think about what you talk about. Because I need to know what you think. Because I'm not really talking to. I talk to my sisters and stuff. My sisters and them, when they really talk to me, they talk to me with God. My mom, my sisters, they speak God. But I'm talking about women that I could kick it. I could kick it to any of y'all that way because all y'all pretty. So I'm talking about women that I'm attracted to or whatever. Y'all got to tell me what's on y'all mind and what's going on with y'all. Because black women seem like they go on a different course nowadays, man. I really don't get it. They don't have our back like they used to, man. They not being
Rashid says vows nowadays are just words and a pretty wet wedding, never taken seriously. Rashid, you want to speak a little more to that?
Yeah, that's, woo, Rashid says some shit. Excuse me. Rashid said.
All right. So.
What'd you say, Rashid?
So basically, the actual concept of marriage nowadays is never really taken serious because, you know, the vows, they're supposed to be sacred vows. It's supposed to be for better or for worse, through sickness and in health, and through death do us part. Now, when it comes to what Jada and Will and August, now you could say that it happened when they're separated, still legally married.
Exactly.
But it was at a point in time where Will was not even sure if he was going to come back. So to Jada, that seems like, okay, open season. But at the end of the day, when you take vows, you literally take somebody for their flaws. You take somebody for their everything, for who they are, at face value and deeper. And if you're not able to even make those type of commitments and that type of understanding, you should not be getting married in the first place.
I agree. You hit it right on the nail.
No, but I'm gonna tell y'all something with the Will and Jada situation. I want y'all to hear this. Thank you, bro, Rashid. I hear you, bro. But on the Will and Jada situation, for Jada, I don't care if they let that dude in and they both knew him, if they took him in while they needed him. That was good that they helped the brother and all that. But for Jada to kick it with that dude like he did in they crib, while they was married, while they was going through anything, Jada even had a reason to do that. And then Will must have been doing some funny dirty shit. Will had to have been doing something crazy for her to,
Will Tap, she said on the red table, to me, this gives an indication that Will wasn't doing nothing, because the first thing he said, well, I got you back. She said, yeah, you got me back. You really did get me back. So to me, it sounded like it was Jada first, because why would she say, yeah, you got me back? Why would
Shelly, I thought he says, now I got to get you back. And she says, you've already gotten me back. Let's not even talk about that.
Exactly. So basically, what does that tell you? If it was Will first, like it was with Mr. Carter, not my Mr. Carter, but Mr. Carter, Beyonce, and Jay-Z, like he said, he don't know if he could forgive her the way that she forgave him. So I think in this same instance, why would she say, you got me back? Why would she say that?
You know, I don't know why she would say that. And we know that if we both clearly some relationships, gossip, had open relationships. But what I think is that
I'm getting feedback. Okay. I'm sorry.
What I can say is that marriage is complex. Okay, and for all of us, I think we need to be honest on this panel that marriage is complex, and everyone has an intention of doing the right thing when they get married. No one gets married thinking, I'm gonna have an affair, I'm gonna break up. We really get into that for that American dream of love forever, right? And that's just who it is, who we are. And if you want to go by the traditional meaning of marriage, you know, we put a lot of value on papers, and papers have not traditionally meant value, belief, commitment, or anything like that when you look at marriages, right? But if I'm in a relationship with my husband and he says, we're separated and I don't never want to see your ass again, like Will told Jada, and it's been months or years or however long it is, if I have an emotional connection to somebody, you know, that's just who it is. That's being honest. I mean, I feel bad that Og was in their house, that he was somebody that the husband knew, but you can't help who you connect with. And people want to say it's tacky and all that type of stuff, but it's reality. You cannot help who you connect with. And if you guys sit up here and say that you never had a connection with anybody being married or anybody that you shouldn't have, you all lying.
Oh,
right?
I agree.
I agree, but that's where self-control comes in.
Yeah.
Just because you have a connection with somebody, don't mean you need to follow that through. There's shit that's tacky, right?
It's tacky because it had it been tacky to somebody else.
Say it again.
Tacky because of love. But what if it had it? What if it was somebody else? It would have still been an entanglement in her mind.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, I'm going to ask the brothers on the panel. Is it more of a hurt if it's your homeboy than it is a rank stranger, or is the hurt the same? Because
No,
for me,
if it's your homeboy, she just straight a hoe. If she fuck messing with your homeboy, but if it's a stranger, you know, just like everybody make mistakes. It's up to you if you want to forgive your husband or if I forgive you. But I'm just saying, if you messing with my homie, are you kidding me? You know what? I made a big mistake. You messing with my home. If I'm messing with your sister or your girlfriend, you made a mistake.
It takes two. It takes two. Because you can try to mess with the homie's wife, and the homie's wife can set you straight. It takes two. So if both
it does take two.
They both consented to that. That means you messed up on both parts. You got a, fucked up best friend and fucked up wife.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, girl. Preach that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But Rashid,
you know what? We got to deal with that too. But that's why I'm saying, I'm like, you know, that's why I don't even think about it when it happens. I deal with. I don't even like stuff like that get on my mind, because I just got to be ready when if it ever comes about. I never even think about stuff like that. But as far as like when my wife left me and she's gone now, I don't know nothing what she's doing. I don't want to know. She don't. All I know is she know that I can't do nothing because I got them darn kids. See, she's smart. My wife is smarter than me. I gave her an ultimatum. Just go. I gave him an ultimatum and said, go on. I'll watch the kids. Just go on because you can't. I was talking shit. You can't afford them anyway. Get out of here. She said, oh, yeah. All right, my brother. And now I got the kids. But, you know, I'm happy with that. It's cool, but I still got the kids. I can't bring nobody over the crib, but she over at her crib in her lingerie could be with somebody, okay? My man, whoever she with, chilling. So, damn, I'm stuck.
Jack, I got a question. I have to ask a question. Could you, would you, can you?
Absolutely. I'm dying for the closure. I'm dying for her to ask me. Maybe I might not never get it, and I'm okay. My life and get back, because when she was with me, I can't understand this. The woman that I love, I adore. I was stressed every day and bugging out, thinking I was gonna die, you know, all kind of feelings. When she left after I started, time went on, I ain't been stressed. That was my problem. because I thought I adored her. I thought I loved her because, and I thought, but I realize now she made the right move to leave it. Because she probably did that for me too. But still, the way she did it, I want my closure, not to get her back because of death, all that, because we don't talk. I don't want to say no foul shit. I want my closure because of the way she really stuck it to me, kind of hard. Left me with everything, thinking that, women like to see you look bad, but see, when you don't look bad, see, my man, Mr. Charlie down there, that's a bad boy. Even though
that is so not right. Women do not see men look bad.
Let me finish.
That's so cold. Okay, guys.
That is not right.
God, you gotta fix this. I said,
my man, I'm telling you, if she didn't listen to me.
Hold on, Jane.
Okay, put it like this. Even if she didn't want to see me, even if she doesn't realize she made a bad mistake, if she doesn't realize she made a bad mistake, one thing she sees now, she realizes that I'm not going to crack. She realizes that her friends is probably telling her, if she's saying bad shit about me, I don't know, because we don't talk. But if she's saying bad things about me, and then her friends or whoever she's talking to looking at me, they like, I don't know, Rachel. I don't know about this guy. I think he's all right. You know what I mean? I'm cool.
But you know what, Tam? And ladies, back me up. And Mr. Charlie, I'd love to hear your opinion. But I think it's not necessarily about making you look bad or making me look bad. Sometimes our paths just shift. And that's really not anybody's fault. If you're in a long-term relationship, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And this is where the marriage contract or the relationship contract was established, right? You were you and I was me. But as we travel down this path, sometimes they just separate. And I can't go back to that, oh, I'm just going to be quiet, tipping around on eggshells because I don't want to get Pop mad. That's the bullshit right there. And I'm like, no, we need to be able to communicate and talk about this. And it's all good if you want to renegotiate and say, I don't like the new Lori. I don't like who you become 20 years later. And then we can break up. But because I want to be autonomous, I want to have a thought, I want to be a career person or a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is I want to be, that doesn't mean I'm disrespecting you because I want to be that.
Right? Look, when you're a man, right? When you come home from work every day, right? Look at y'all beautiful. Look at all three of y'all. I come home every day. I love one of y'all, and I look into your eyes, and you looking at me like I'm a piece of garbage. When you see this every day, and you're going through the same reaction every day, how do you think that makes me feel? But you still trying to get picky. You still trying to keep you don't want to do it, but you had to go through this because you upset her. No, listen, guys, I made mistakes, and she got to a point, I guess. I'm just trying to figure it out in my own head, but I don't figure it out. No, I just let it go. But I'm just saying, yes, the mistakes I made, she just said, freak it. This guy ain't for me. I did 20 years with this dude. I'm in a different place, like Lori just said. Okay. So because she felt that way and I didn't, I had to separate myself completely because it messed me up. Because now all of a sudden my kids and my family that I love dearly is gone. So now I got to be back by myself, and I gotta say I'm not going to give it its glory yet. Maybe some down the line, but it made me reevaluate myself, and I see who I am again, which I could never give this love I'm giving to myself now because I was giving it to her and the kids. I never did nothing for me, you know, but now I've been concentrating the last 11 months on me. I realized, damn, Tat, that's who you are.
Exactly.
That's who I am again.
But you know what?
Like, now, if she's smart enough to say, I gotta let this guy go because he gotta know who he is again. He gave everything to me, and whatever, if she's that motherfucking good, then I'll find out hopefully eventually. But for now, it still bothers me, even though I don't bother her, it don't bother me. But I still had to deal with this transaction, guys, and it was hard. And I still see that I'm not no less than I was before. I still got a lot of growing, but I'm still a bad lover. But,
you have to be.
Mr. Charlie, you've been pretty quiet.
Well,
go ahead. Hold up, Charlie. She was talking. Go ahead, sweetheart.
I was going to say, Mr. Tab, you have to be prepared that you may not get that apology or you may not get that closure. You have to be able to be prepared for that because what it will do is you will not be whole and you will not be able to move on to your next relationship. Prepare yourself that there may never be any closure. And this is a woman that you're going to have to deal with because you have children with her and there may never be closure. That's all I'm saying. It may happen, but I'm saying, please do not look for that because it will continue to keep you from being whole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is my kids right now are older. So it's a lot easier that, you know, it was so cold the way she did her thing. It was cold. So therefore, I had to deal with that, whatever. I thought it was just cruel. But because my kids are older, they're not little kids no more, they understand. I talk to them. We have a good relationship. I want you to know, sweetheart, I don't need the closure really. I was just preparing myself for if she ever do to be, my closure is different than what you say. If she ever come back, my thing is how to tell her no without being an asshole. But we're telling her like no without being revengeful. I don't want to get back with her because I realized that she was maybe right. We wasn't meant for you, even though we had 3 beautiful kids and everything. It's more than, yo.
But now I just had something to say when you finish.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I honestly think that it's a lot of pain there. It's a lot of hurt, it's a lot of pain. But when we starting off these relationships, most of them, honestly, we start off with lust without really knowing the other person at all, mentally, physically, and on all kind of levels. So we have beautiful beginnings, people hiding their true identities. And then you also have kids that come into play, which we have to experience this because we don't know nothing about this. And then along with life, you got all kind of problems that come within a relationship. And things get old, sets get old, money get old, all these things, positions, and people become bored. And how to keep a relationship lit, because we're going to the leaves instead of the root of the problem, what it actually is. So I think if people go more to the root than the leaves, you can figure out, you know, where we went wrong. And sometimes you just wasn't compatible. It was just we end up marrying people connected to people that was just funny, you know. So later on, now you realize you have nothing in common with this person. When you take out the sets, money, and the kids, is nothing really there no more because, you know, it's over on those levels. So and that's back on the thinking. You talk about a woman who probably had the diamonds, the jewels, the everything. So broken, a lot of people are confused. Like they was Mr. and Miss Hollywood. You know, she had to have everything. So, can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
But that's it in a nutshell. know, it's just, you know, people grow apart and they realize that, you know, they had, you know, in the beginning, yeah, it was beautiful because everybody wanted to have sex. You want to go out and all these things get old. But now you're dealing with the real person now. And you start to realize you don't have a lot in common. So I would think the next relationships, I do it different. I would want to get more of the mental than the sexual. Instead of rushing into some people are with people.
That's why I love you, Killer. When do we talk every day, right? The knowledge that you put in my head every day, bro. That's why I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, we do business together, and we got big dreams, big aspirations, everything. But I call you, man, because you a bad mama. I'm telling you,
You know what?
bad.
I just want to say something. The panelists in the conversation is just very, very important. And I mean, you guys are on fire with this responses. I mean, Lori, what you said, because Lori and I have had several conversations about relationships. I met my husband when I was 18. I'm 50 and we're still together. So you can just imagine the growth, the changes, the separation of the roles and the coming back together, the separation and coming back together, and trying to keep your own identity in the midst of this. And I think one of the things that happened for me at a very young age is I became so into him that I almost lost myself, since we're being transparent. Because I tried to model after my aunt, because that's what the older people do. They kind of relinquish all their stuff to the men, right? And I tried to model after that. But then as I got older and I realized who I was and what I wanted to be, that caused conflict in my marriage. And it's been many a time divorce and all separation, all this type of stuff has been thrown off, because who he started off with is now who I was today. The ladies of the chat can tell you, for 20 years, I cooked 3 meals a day. One day I woke up and said, I'm not fucking cooking any fucking more, right? Now, was that extreme? Yeah.
Are you still married?
Yeah. I'm still married. But what I had to realize, to him, but what I had to realize is, hold on, but that took a conversation. When you're in a marriage and you have a behavior that you start, you just can't independently determine that you're going to not do something anymore.
Exactly.
You know, people get sensitive when I say this, and Lori and I talked about this, and Jackie and I and Shelly, you might have talked about too. Marriage is a business contract. It's like every couple of years you got to renegotiate the contract based on the terms and conditions of today.
Exactly.
And people want to say, oh, that's cruel, where's the love and all this stuff. Yeah, but if you guys are not compatible and on the same page and thinking the same way, as you grow and your needs change, even your needs could change with sex. Even your needs.
Can I say something though, Tanya?
Huh?
Sweetheart, listen to me. You know what you said in the beginning? I'm gonna ask you something. What was wrong with that? You told me you got lost in him. That's what my wife told me about. She got lost in me. That's when I loved it the most, when she was.
Yeah, but of course you would. Okay, so of course you would. But a real respectful marriage, and I had to learn in my 30s, and then I was pissed off about it in my 40s, is that it's 2 individuals that come together to make one. I don't make 100% of you. And so if I can't be me, if I can't, have my own opinion, my own voice, and you got your own money and your own job, and if I can't bring value to the marriage and everything's about you, then I feel selfless. And then I'm angry. And then everything's about you. And I lost complete control of who I was as Tanya.
But I think what happens too, T, is that oftentimes for women, particularly meeting someone at 18 and connecting with that person, you don't know who you are as a woman. You don't know what it means necessarily to be a wife. You don't know what your needs are. And at least I know in our past, because I know all of our paths intimately, we started off as teenagers or really young adults, right? And then right after that, bam, came children. And then you shift to being a mother, to being a caretaker, and you still haven't had an opportunity to figure out who am I as the woman, right? Because it's moving at lightning speed. And oftentimes I think when we have a moment, the kids get themselves into middle school or maybe starting high school, where you can sleep the whole night with your own thoughts, right? We begin to decide who we are.
Right.
And then it's hard. I'm not bashing the brothers. I'm just saying it's hard for me to now come to you and say, okay, Tap, I have cooked 3 meals a day, and I have swept the floors, and I clean the ceiling fans on Wednesday, and I do this and I do that, but I don't want to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Why does that have to equate to we're not supporting you?
Right.
Well, and we're not respecting
you.
Let me say,
go ahead.
Well, I think that priorities got a lot to do with it, and we put time and effort into what we want to. And if we really care about something, we're going to put that time and effort into it. And to say you don't want to do anything anymore, you really have to think about that. Because as I'm gonna use my kids, they don't know how to really do math that good in some areas. They don't know how to do this. They forget to clean up. They forget to do that. But they're on point with that game. They know everything about the game. They make time and effort to learn that game. I didn't have to teach them nothing about that because they wanted to learn that game. And I think the same goes for relationships. If you really care about it, because some people move different depending on who the person is. Mm-hmm. Some people can make you get into wanting to cook, wanting to clean. If you don't want to cook for this man, you don't want to clean for this woman, it's something about that person that's not driving you to do that. Just like my kids with the game. They won't get up and clean the outside. They get up in the morning and go straight to that game because that's something they want to do. Now, if you want to say,
you know what, Mr. Charlie?
Mr. Charlie,
go ahead, T.
You know what, Mr. Charlie? I'm just going to speak from my own experience. It wasn't something I think I just did just because I love to do it. And I was okay with that. And until you realize that you're doing all this and it's not quite equal, right? So
exactly.
20 years later, I decided not to cook and I said, fuck everything. I'm not cooking 3 days a meal a day. That was my initial temper tantrum. That's how I felt. I held that ground. But being in a relationship, I came back and said, well, if this is really something that you want, how can we negotiate the terms? Okay, so now I cook and you go to the grocery store. But I was grocery storing, cooking, sous chef, and fucking cleaning the kitchen. I mean, that's unfair for anybody, right?
But hold on, Charlie. Let me speak.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait.
That's what I was talking about.
Wait, let me finish my story. Let me finish my story because I'm just being honest. And even though it may not be what you want to hear, I'm being honest from my lens, from what happened in my personal life, okay? So then I had to say, okay, baby, if that's what you want, I'm tired of cooking 3 meals a day. And Lori and all of them will tell you, it was no ordinary meals. I was cooking 3 meals a day for 20 years. I mean, just really. But in all that, losing myself. So then we decided to say, okay, I'm still going to cook. And he says, you know what, babe? You know what? All we had to do was have this conversation. In my mind, I'm thinking, no, we shouldn't have had to have this conversation. You should have saw that I was slaving while you was sitting up here flipping the damn TV channel, right? But the communication of needs is what's important. You can't assume that somebody knows what you need and you have to tell it. So now I cook 3 days a week. And then he'll go to the store or he'll do the dishes. And now it's a happier moment, a happier experience for me because I don't feel like I'm all beat up and can't invest in me at the end of the day.
Listen to me. That's what I was telling you in the beginning of this program, is how your mom and my mom and our grandparents, they would never come up with that idea that you said, that you're supposed to cook 5 days a week or 3 times a day. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? That's what they did.
That is absurd.
It is.
No.
And the men was working and the women wasn't.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all changed on us. Y'all are now suddenly, because I'm gonna tell you something. I got to do with my one job, Lori, Tanya, Sheila. When my one job wasn't enough, I worked 2, and I did that for 20 years.
But you know what, job? You know what, Tap? I've worked 2 jobs.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
hustle it out.
Because you got to do what you got to do.
I get up and I hustle it out every day. And I come home, I take care of my kids, I cook dinner, I clean this house, and you sit on the couch. You sit on the couch and flip the remote. Where is my sit on the couch, flip the remote time? When does that? I get it. Now, hey, I'm all behind you. If I ain't got to get out here and
come
work,
over here and sit on the couch.
here taking care of this, all good.
You ain't sit on the couch and flip the remote. You know why you ain't sit on the couch and flip the remote?
Because I don't know. Because you're sitting on the couch flipping the remote.
If I wasn't sitting there, you would have sat there. If I wasn't sitting there, you would have said, hold on, Charlie. Listen, Lori, listen to me, sweetheart. You complaining about things. Instead of just, you know, if we communicated and you're saying, because I'm flipping the remote, you know what? If I'm flipping the remote, I would have loved for you to come over, stop what you're doing, and flip this remote with me. You think I want you in the kitchen flipping the remote instead of sitting next to me?
You told me to go in there and cook.
Huh?
Go. I'm sorry, Mr. Charlie. Go ahead, but I'm gonna speak after this one.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on a lot of things you're saying. But also, when back in the days with the mothers and the grandmas, the man was the financial provider.
Exactly.
So
there you go, Mr. Charlie.
So, and I can understand that why it was easier for her to cook, and do this and take care of the kids, because it was in the times we live in. Everybody damn near got to work. The daughters, the sons, the uncle, whoever. So, but not with that being said, also, I think we got to a time where that with women's liberation and all the things that's going on with financial and everything. So a woman that's working now and taking care, yes, she wouldn't want a man just to be sitting there flipping the remote control. But also I say this, that man, he's not just flipping remote control, because when somebody come in that house and want to rob or steal, he's going to stand up in the paint, and he got duties that just come along with being a man. It's certain, let's say you got a daughter, Tap. It's certain respects that a young man would have seeing a man in that house than just a woman and an auntie. So, you know, everybody play their part. And like you were saying earlier, Michelle, if that works for you, that's good. And if it's not working for you, Tap, find somebody, I'm just not saying it to you, I'm just saying general. Yeah. Find somebody where whatever you like or need, because we're living in a world now that find somebody that fits that.
Ladies, I want y'all to know, my wife used to always tell me, Tap, and I work hard, nigga. I felt underappreciated. But my wife used to always tell me, you're gonna be alone when I leave, you're gonna be alone. She always tell me that. You know what?
Did you ever ask her why, Tap?
That's, of course, that's another reason. That's another thing she was right about, y'all. I might be wrong, and I don't have a problem with it. You know what? I love myself that much, and you know what? My son's daughter, hopefully I get them close enough to take care of me when I get over. But I might not have a woman taking care of me, because you know what? It's like I don't want nobody doing nothing they don't want to do.
Too much pride. Christian says
I
too much
got
pride.
a lot of pride. Yes, I do, Lord.
Too much pride.
I got a lot of pride, Jackie. I don't want nobody doing nothing they don't want to do.
Well, I think we're talking a lot about communication, but I think the one word that's missing is compromise. One of the things that my grandfather said to me about his marriage with my grandmother was, he says, you know what, I listen, not only do we communicate with each other, but we compromise. And I think Tanya Michelle touched on it. She didn't say the word, but she touched on it. The thing is, she communicated, I don't want to cook all 5 days of the week. And then her husband said, you know what? I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me that. And what did he do? He went out and he went to the grocery store and he went and got the groceries. Or he said, you know what, babe, today don't cook. All we look for is that compromise. We lose ourselves when there's no one being considerate in a relationship and knowing that that other person has needs too. So in other words, if we're compromising, like my grandfather said, I take your grandmother to a play every 3 months or so, because I know there's going to be one night I want to spend with my boys and play poker, because she's able to do what she wants to do outside of the relationship, or I take her, or I'm listening to her and I compromise. I'm able to compromise the things that I want to do instead of just coming home and assuming that my wife is going to put a load of clothes in, cook a full course meal, diaper and change them kids, bathe them and put them to bed, and then we ready to toss it up. No, I'm ready to go to sleep because I'm exhausted. Because we never talked and communicated and compromised that there are some things that I need for myself too. That's how we get lost.
Jackie, Charlie.
Right.
Okay, guys. We've got some Facebook commentary for you, Gerald, and then for the panelists. And this again is coming from Facebook. Toy Chloe said that back in the day, hell, they didn't work like we do now. You know what I mean? She says, I'm working, you working, so we're gonna have to take a breather. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to be fair. Yeah, like you said, Shelly C. And then Meg Bourne, hey Meg, Megalicious says it's not 1950 anymore. We both work and contribute to the household. So things are gonna have to shift, you know, on the way I'm thinking you're thinking, Tap. And Toy says we walk side by side, not one in front of the other. So we have to pay attention to others' feelings and needs. And so she loves that, Shelly, see that we need to compromise. And we have to. I mean, because women are doing a lot. I don't know, Gerald. We're doing way too fucking much. How about that?
We're working.
No,
we're
but no, listen, Jackie.
cooking. We're cleaning.
You guys think I'm going to tell you something. You guys are probably going to think different. But I'm going to tell you, I make the decisions because of the mere fact I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to be homeless or something. You know, believe me, y'all, I kissed the ground my wife walked on. I loved her. I used to love just looking at her, and I'd be in awe. Like, I would exhale, like, oh, look at this beautiful. You know, my wife was a queen. But it was time she wanted to move further. You know, she was counting my money. But it's okay. That's my wife. But she wanted to get a house now. We live in New York. We live in an apartment, 2-bedroom. We got 3 kids. We want to expand, get a house in Jersey or Long Island. Okay, time to get a house. We can do it. But it's steps, protocol you have to take, the steps you have to take. But listen, y'all, we wasn't getting along. And I know the fact that the way my wife was treating me, if this continues to go, I said, you want to get, and now I'm starting to bring this up because I'm scared now. My wife is, you know, she's getting distant, she's getting disrespectful, she's getting a lot of things. Because you know what? The arguments and the combativeness we was having in the house, if I would have bought that house, they would have threw me out of that house with both of our names on, not her and the kids. I'd be homeless, y'all. That killed me because she know I want, you know, but what is she? You know, I didn't trust my wife no more because I was seeing ghosts, man. It was because the way we was treating to each other, I couldn't understand her attitude, her changes. You know, I'm a woman, I'm a grown ass. Well, what are you talking about? I've been with you for 20 years. What are you talking about? I said, we making moves, Charlie. Real talk, dog.
You know what I can tell you though, Tap, is you said something that I think triggered many of our poetry, our chat shows, and I think it may have been on Poetry Dresses, is we always talk about the 5 love languages, right? And I'm not trying to go off subject, but you said, I love my wife so much. I did this and I did that for her. But sometimes the way you think you loving somebody is not the way the person wants to be loved. And we've done a lot of shows and we've taken tests on the 5 love languages. And, you know, as you heal, and I'm really sorry that this happened and all that, because you really want to see continuity in relationships and all that type of stuff. And I can feel the hurt and the disappointment coming from you. And I appreciate you speaking from the heart because we all can learn something from it. But as you decide to go into another relationship so you won't be single or alone by the rest of your life, I would ask you to read that book. Many things, and we've talked about this before, you know, somebody's love language might be acts of service. which seems like that may be yours. That you like service, that you like people to do stuff for you, that you like catering. And I may be wrong, but her, you know, but and hers may be quality time or gifts or something else. And so one of the things that my husband and I had to do too, and we've been very transparent on the chat about this, is determine our love languages, you know, because just because, see, you know, he may be a person that he may thinks if he brings me home something, I'm happy. And I might think, no, I want you here next to me and looking at a movie on Netflix. You know what I mean? And that's my love language. So many times we think we know how we're loving somebody, the way in our mind love looks like, but it doesn't look like that to the individual. And so,
right.
You
know, and I agree with that 100%.
You know, and we have to learn hard lessons. We have to learn hard lessons. Relationships are complex, and we have to learn. We have to be willing to look at ourselves and be willing
to let you know too, Tanya, I'm 16 years older than my wife. And when I got married, honey, I did not listen to my mom. But she told me, it's okay, you know, you finally met a nice person. I was 38, she was like 23. I was 38, 39, she was 23. But listen, you're gonna get old. This is mom talking. You're gonna get old. You sure want to do this because she's pretty young. And a lot of situations, you get old quick with people. And she loves you now because you're still rather young. But when you get up there, things might change. You better really think about what you want to do. You might want to be seeing somebody older. And
I don't think.
And I think, Charlie, I think my mom knew something, and I didn't listen to her because I was bitten. I had the Googlies and all that.
I won't say that, Chap. I don't think the age have nothing to do with it. When you really think about it, it goes back to what we're saying. If you really want something, you're gonna try to make it work. And it back what she was saying, they compromise. They did things. I think the problem comes when you compromise and act like everything is okay, but you're really not happy with that compromise. And that can cause so many problems. Mm-hmm. And even in your situation, you're not going to the root of what's the problem. I don't think it's the age at this point. I think it's just people not being honest with the happiness of the compromising.
Mm-hmm. You know, so I think that has a lot to do with it as well, Charlie. Thank you. Yep.
But Tap, I think in what Tanya Michelle said, I really do think it's absolutely true, because I can tell you from experience, I can actually tell you word for word. I was once married, and I was married or with this person for 15 years. And the first thing that he said to me is, you have everything you want. I love you. You got the cars, you got the house, you got the clothes, you got the purses, you got the shoes, you got everything you want. I love you. But that's not what I wanted. Like Tanya Michelle said, I want you here with me, even if it's just some popcorn and we watching Netflix. You're so busy working 6 days a week, 12 hours. You're so tired. I don't see you. But I understand and I appreciate that you're working hard for me and the kids to have everything. But my language of love is you being here with me. And because you were not here with me and I was very young, there may have been some entanglement. So I just want to say that we have to pay attention and we have to communicate.
Yikes radio.
Not entanglement. Did y'all hear that? It might have been some entanglement things. Oh my God.
Honey, that was a smooth transition, baby. That was a smooth transition.
So there was an entanglement. And,
oh my God.
And it may have been entanglements on both sides. But I think because we did not know how to love each other.
Right, man? What the fuck?
There may have been something else there was a door open for something else to walk in, because you're saying, I love you. I'm giving you all of this. You got that. I'm working my ass off. You got everything you could possibly want. But I'm saying, I don't
have you.
I appreciate it, but this is what I need.
Right.
It's you know what, guys? You know what? I'm gonna tell you what the bottom line is with this whole thing. All of you guys, I agree with all of you, and all of you make sense. and it's complicated, like you said, Jill. But the bottom line is, she left me. So therefore, I had to get myself together because, you know, I didn't see that in the forecast, and she broke my heart. So, but she left. I had to get myself together. And the good thing about it, y'all, it's not all that bad as you think. Once you see clear skies, and once you start getting into yourself and all that, you also kind of think maybe it was the right thing to do. But it's like, I guess I'm just a little bitter. You know why I'm a little bitter, to be honest with you? Now I'm gonna get real deep. I'm a little bitter because I ain't met nobody yet. God damn it. I ain't met nobody yet.
I'm basically, if you get laid, when you get laid, you gonna feel better? Is that what I'm hearing?
No,
horny, man.
You just need to get some. Just what?
I guarantee you won't.
Don't confuse
What,
that.
Shelly?
Don't mess with that lust again.
This is a great time. Our Zoom room has so many comments. We've been neglecting
Girl,
them.
yeah, we gotta go to the Zoom room. Hold on, girl.
Gaina says, renegotiate, exclamation mark. What's love got to do with it? Question mark. 3. After 20 years, a person should be offered a retirement option.
Oh my God.
3.
Oh my God.
4 questions.
I bet you that's a woman who said that.
We're going to come back to that expiration date. I have had that conversation on another radio show. I really think after 25 years, we should be able to renew our license.
Oh my God.
Right?
Okay.
So Chris Fisher says that we are not under Mosaic law anymore. It's about quality pride. Women will always do for the man, but the man don't know God, because if he did, he would know.
He wouldn't even do it.
His mother and father, he cleaves to his wife. And Rashid says, so we need to have conversations with our significant other. Get to truly know them. Be in constant communication to have a successful marriage. Very insightful Zoom room going on here.
Yes, it is.
But I have a question, getting back to Will and Jada, because we somehow kind of drifted away from that, right? So Gaina talks about a renegotiation. We've established that communication in a relationship is key and that we change over time. So what are your thoughts, panelists, about trying to renegotiate an open marriage after 20 years of a closed one?
Absolutely damn not.
An open marriage, man, what? So what is it again, Lori?
Well, first of all, Jada and Will's marriage is always open. And don't believe that. They had open. They was always open. And I think Will was on the other team. Jada might have been, strictly, that. But Will was front and back and forth.
An open marriage is when we both agree. An open marriage is when we both agree. So if Will was so upset and ready to get Jada back, was it an open marriage?
Good point, Shelly C.
No.
But remember, an open marriage, Shelly, that Will and them have to think is consensual. They consent to and they know each other's business partners. I think, he didn't consent to this, which was probably, and I just think
that's the problem.
But he didn't consent to this, which caused a problem because
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. So here's a question: why do we think Jada didn't share him? Why was he a secret?
Ooh, why was he a secret?
He might have. My man might have had he might have seen my man or something.
He might have what?
My man might have been Patrick. He probably was, you know, they got close. You know, that's what happened. When you know what I mean? Because she said, from what I understood, she said Will was stingy with him. And once she seen my man.
What? Tab is tripping, you guys. I don't even know.
I heard Will was stingy.
There is some stuff that says that Jada's a sex fiend.
And Jada's a sex fiend, right? That's what I heard. Jada's a sex fiend. And Will was all over the place.
Well, I think she just. Go ahead, Lori.
No, I was just saying, I missed that. So we're saying Jada is a sex fiend, and that's why she didn't tell Will about August.
Oh, no.
It doesn't. I mean, because she can still tell him.
She didn't tell Will about August. She wanted to keep that thing a secret. Because August was making.
But if we're not together, why is it a
What
secret?
you say, Janie? Hold on.
But hold on though. But if you're that close to the family, how would that even be kept a secret? How do you keep that a secret when he's that close to the family? You're going there for help.
The privacy. You can keep some secrets now.
You can, but I'm saying if we were not together and it's an open marriage, why is anybody mad?
That's a good question, Shelly C.
Why we upset?
Shelly, I agree with you. Who says it was a secret and who said I need to tell my business? Maybe it wasn't a secret, maybe it's just my business. And we're separated and I'm tired of public opinions on my life. And this is what I want to do because we're separated.
And maybe he didn't know. It's just that the public didn't know.
Which doesn't matter, but I'm saying.
I'm going to tell you this much. I ain't going to marry nobody that got too many secrets next time. I'll tell you that. Because you know what I mean?
You won't know. You won't know till the skeleton.
I'm gonna tell you, because my wife, that's what the fuck, that was the problem. She had, and she ain't tell me shit.
I'm still back to my same point. If there's an agreement and we're separated, we're not together, why is anybody mad?
Oh,
I agree, Shelly.
Why? We have an agreement that we're not together anymore. We have an agreement that we can date other people. Why are you mad and trying to get me back? I don't understand.
Shelly, because I think August was the boy toy.
Because women, it's okay.
And Janie, I agree with Janie.
Exactly, Jack.
She just wanted to get banged out with a boy toy. She got some young dick. And it's all good in the hood. She forgot to tell Will. It's not that it was a problem. She just forgot. You know, sometimes you go to the store, you go buy some cannabis, or you just have a edible. You know what I mean? And you just had that edible. And you forgot to tell it because it was just a fucking edible. And then August realized that because she got tired of his little, whatever the fuck she got tired of. And she was like, all right, she tossed him to the curb to go for the next young thug. And he feeling some kind of way. So then he gonna run like a little B.I. and then go to the Charlemagne and go kill him every fucking body and shit like a little bitch. You feel me? So it's like, okay, well, this is how you want to act. You know what I mean? All right. And then now it's all in the open. And Will is like, what the fuck? And she like, all right, nigga, we'll come to the red table. We chop it up like gangsters do.
Hey, okay, take it easy. Slow down, baby. You kill him. Yo, but check it.
What you say? That's a theory.
They say the reason we went to the red table was because August was saying he approved it. And he wanted to straighten that out that he didn't approve it.
Right. See? What you think? What you think, Mr. Charlie? I know
listen, hey, Mr. Charlie, August was open, dog.
I've been with my husband for almost 32 years.
Hold on, Toy.
If we
say it again, Tanya, I can't hear you.
I've been with Joe and I love him. And if we separate after 32 years and I come across a little something, I'm going
man. What you say? Wow. Shelly, okay, everybody.
Take it easy, baby.
Hold on.
Y'all like, this is the thing that I hate. Real. Emotions and feelings and all this shit is some real shit. And if I come across somebody with some pheromones and mine and his, I'm it don't look like we're putting that together, I'm connected. And
not the pheromones.
You guys, I think
not the pheromones.
I would absolutely not do that is untrue.
Oh, shooky.
Look, everybody from Facebook Toy says, you know what happened was she got that young dick and he went up to her brain and she just forgot to tell him. You know what I mean?
She forgot to tell him?
Because he laid the pipe so good it went all the way to her head thing. You know what I mean? And Megalicious says, she says that hit of August in his body.
All right.
Going around. I would forget to say something too. You see what that's what I'm telling you, Meg. She just forgot. Shit happened.
So there was no agreement. That's what I'm saying. There was no agreement. There was
no agreement, Shelly.
There was no agreement because
now, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the fact that this was no agreement? Do you think it was just like one of those mistakes? You feel me? Because players fuck up, Lord. We all know that happens. Shit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
So
I don't know.
I'm just saying, you know.
Hey, you guys, listen to this. We don't know what will we don't know what will do in separation. I hate that this.
Yeah, hey, man. He could have been doing some freaky shit.
You gonna say a man separated that long? He had no entanglements. He's a lie. Okay?
Exactly.
He may have had some entanglements, Tanya, but I think the problem is the agreement. Somebody messed up the agreement. Because this all of a sudden isn't an issue. Why all of a sudden is a problem? We had an open marriage.
Hold on, why are we trying to flip this on Will? Why are we trying to flip this on Will?
I'm just saying why we mad.
Rashid Shelley said you are turning it around. He's saying you making it a Will thing instead of a Jada thing.
That is what happened to it.
I'm just saying what I'm saying is there was no agreement. There was no agreement because nobody would be mad.
What do you think, Mr. Charlie? Would you be mad if you had an agreement? If you had an agreement, would you be mad?
I said that. I don't think we agreed on August. I think he found out because it don't make sense. Even if you stand separated, I don't matter. But if you stay separated, why would I get mad at anything if you separate?
My point, Charlie.
Yep, Megalicious. What's up, girl?
I don't know.
My point.
We still have not answered our question about if we should be allowed to go from closed to open after 20 years.
Who said that?
That was a question on the table for the panel. You clearly said no, we should not, Shelley C.
No, whatever we agree to. No, whatever we agree to. If we agree to it, then yes. If we both agree.
Yeah. It's about the communication, and at the end of the day, I know I would never agree to that, but you can go find what you want. Find somebody out there that would agree to what you believe and what you want to experience in a relationship.
But Mr. Charlie, so you would take your significant other, your wife of 20 years, who said, I want to experience maybe some different types of relationships. Maybe we could become swingers. And you would just say, well, you know, I don't want to do that. Beat it. You would just release it that easily. That's
when the shit is over. When you know, once you get a weird idea that you want to stick your finger in the ass, fuck this nigga, do this, that's where the shit over. It's over at that point. Fuck, I ain't gonna be in no shit like that.
Okay, Mr. Charlie, so I have a question. So are the rules different for men versus women or husband versus wife? Are the rules different?
Of course. And I'm gonna tell you why it's different, because men with women all the time. Let's just be honest. Men cheat more than women. Well, let me take that back. Men cheat. So and no emotions. But once a woman get her pussy a dick down, she's thinking about leaving her whole fucking family.
Right.
But man can get that good head, that good pussy, go back home, and it ain't. So it's different from an emotional standpoint. You know?
I agree.
And that's why. So do you think that's why men have a harder time than women of accepting when they're making?
I think pain, no matter which side is on. but how we deal with.
Okay, but Mr. Charlie, I think, well, I can speak from my own experience. I think women are more forgiving than men. Men can't take it when you step.
Well, I just said, but that's the point I'm on, because y'all are more emotional creatures than men. Men
Right.
are more aggressive, and we look at things different. And y'all look at, okay, put it this way: a woman, I can be there taking care of you my whole life. In the whole 20 years, I could have gave you over $50,000, $100,000, but I never $500 and one lump sum. One man come along, give you $1,000, one lump sum. You ready to throw away all the hundreds of thousands. So the way you think makes it different from a man. It goes back to what we play a role, but y'all play a role. Everybody got, as a woman and a mother, we can't do some things y'all do. Y'all can't do some things we do. So we got to find that balance. For what
Eric, if you find out your woman, hold on.
I agree. I just wanted to hear it from a man. I agree exactly what you said. It's different. It's different. My grandmother said it a long time ago. An old woman, she's gone now. She would have been over 100 years old, and she died at 92. And the first thing she said is, a man can go down the street naked, take off all his clothes, and come back home and sit down and go back out with a suit on, and he'll be the most respected man in the world. But if a woman does it, she's wrecked for the rest of her life.
And you know what's funny about that? I put a post on my page the other day that most women who divorce their husbands for cheating end up talking to a married man. And
I don't know about that.
No. It's factual. I don't experience.
Okay.
So, but what I'm saying is, it's a different way a woman thinks than a man. We are aliens when it comes to that. So you got to get to learn the woman. The woman got to get to learn the man, and not just be one-sided.
I like that.
That is true.
I think that was well said, Mr. Charlie.
I like that.
It really was.
Because
see, I knew Mr. Charlie from the business, y'all. Look here from Facebook. Anyway, she says it would be real though, Jackie, to see. People just tend to think that Jada just fell on it. She just kind of fell on it, and it was okay, and she just forgot to tell him, and it's all right. You know what I mean? She said, I don't know.
I think this.
She did not forget to tell him.
What you think it was, Lori G?
I mean, she made a choice. She made a choice. If I was in her shoes, if we were separated, I don't know why I would tell you this unless we were having like a truth kumbaya circle where we had to sit
tell shit like that.
and disclose things. But but I don't think she forgot. She didn't forget.
No truth kumbaya. No, I don't recommend that.
I think it was lust with Jada. I think she just experienced
lust.
I agree. I think it was lust.
I don't. Yeah. I think if the man looked like Shabba, it wouldn't have went down. It was definitely a pimp and lust.
Did you say that?
Did you say Shabba?
You said if he looked like Shabba, he wouldn't have got that. Oh Lord. Shirley.
Wow.
Mr. Charlie, really? You cold?
You got any words?
Hey, if that man looked like Shabba, that shit wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have went down.
Oh my God.
Mr. Charlie, you a cold piece. I'm telling you.
Cold piece. He is realer than real. Okay.
Yeah, he got enough because you got to be entangled. You know what you say? You take one, no one. You got to get entangled.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's
before we go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to ask. I think before we get out of here, we got about 7 minutes left. I heard there was some noise or a scoop on Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon, everybody.
Look at Jackie.
What, Shelly? I can't deal with you. Nick Cannon ain't got no job, Shelly.
What happened, people?
Shelly said, you gonna take it over our celebrity? segment, woman.
I mean, I can't. I don't have too much to say on that. I was told by Miss Lori G had info, but I don't know. He's getting some backlash, from what I understand. I didn't do a whole lot of research like I did on Tamar and Miss Rivera, but from what I understand, and you guys can help me out, that because he apologized for a statement that he made about Jewish people. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. He apologized. He's getting some backlash from his people, and he's very disappointed in that. But the other side of it is, he was. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. The other side of it is, he got some backlash for it, and he made a statement, and he also lost his job. So I don't know. You guys may want to speak more on it, but that's what I heard.
So, and what was his job again? He was on that show, what?
Wild Out.
Wow and Out, right.
And he's the host of Masked Singers.
And he's still.
Oh, he lost both gigs, Wow and
No.
Out and the Masked Singer?
No, he still got Masked Singer, but he lost Wild Out. I think he lost basically everything that Viacom owns. And Viacom basically owns almost everything, including Nickelodeon, BET, MTV. That they own a lot of things.
Wow. And so I heard that the Black community has abandoned Nick Cannon. Is that true?
Because he apologized, yes.
Yes, for his apology.
They abandoned him because of the apology?
Yes.
Oh.
Basically, they're trying to say that he should have just kept that same energy, throughout, because his words, though he didn't mean it, in that way,
the context, yes.
When you have a conversation with Mr. Griff and it starts off talking about the actual Jewish community, it can get, a little muddy from there. In fact, though he wasn't specifically talking about the Jewish community, when they were mentioned, it's easy for them to take offense. But he's been in contact with people from the Jewish community to actually educate himself, which is why he apologized. And then that's where the backlash came in, and then he made a tweet talking about, my own people don't got my back. All right, bet I'm off the planet. Peace.
Thoughts, panelists? Anything?
I don't remember. What do you guys have exactly? Because I don't want to speak.
I have a
actual
audio.
Bank account though. You right, Jamie.
I can play what he said.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as guys, and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what, Dr. Francis C. Welsman talked about is that fear and that
genetic annihilation
deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less, and where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out.
That's basically the actual gist of what he said.
I think just what happened to our Malcolm back. You tread in those kind of waters, you should know the consequences. Every black man who was stripped of or their character and I think he just should have been aware of what the consequences that come.
That's true. Wow. Well, we have had a wonderful conversation tonight, haven't we?
Great show. We got the sound.
All right, Jackie Ray.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Poetry of Justice Show with JackieRay Phillips, Lori G, ladies of the chat, YikesRadio.com, and AccelerateRadio.net. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We love you. I adore you. We'll be back next week.
Bye, everybody.
Poetry of Justice Show. Thank you, guys. Yikes Radio.
Thank you.